Alrighty, we are now live. Um, so I call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. on January 13th, 2026. Alrighty, we are now live. Um, I'm gonna be doing both the IVP duties today and the presidential duties. So I hope you all can just have a little bit of grace, especially when it comes down right now to making adjustments to the agenda. Um, and just the internal parliamentary procedures as well. So I think, all right. So does anybody have amendments to make to the agenda? Please raise your hand. All right, Divine.
Hi, everyone. Can we please strike ARC allocation?
Right. And then for the people in the room, I can't see you all right now. So if you guys just want to go one at a time.
Yeah. This is Joy speaking. I motion to add the USAC public comment regarding the Sepulveda Transit Corridor, the Sepulveda Transit Corridor LPA for Metro Board meeting to the agenda, please.
So if it's a public comment, I will just do that during public comment. We don't need to add it to the agenda. Is there a presentation that needs to be given, or is it just public comment?
Sorry, it's a letter.
Oh, okay. So can I get a motion, please?
Okay. I motion to add the USAC letter regarding the Sepulveda Transit Corridor LPA for the Metro Board meeting to the agenda, please.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right, can someone tell me how many we have in person?
Sherry's going to be your delegate in person since she's next in line.
Amazing. Then Sherry, if you're able to just say the vote count of everybody.
With a 9-0 vote, that passes.
Amazing. Then let me add that to the agenda. And then Joy, have you sent me that link? Is anyone else able to hear what's going on in the room? On the Zoom?
I can't.
I think we've lost audio. Yes, I can hear you. I cannot hear anybody else.
Hello, can you hear
Hello?
us?
Okay, amazing. Now I think we can hear you guys again. Um, Joy, did you send me the link?
I'll send it over right now.
Amazing, thank you. Do we have any other amendments to the agenda?
Hi, Tommy. I have an amendment. Motion to add CS mini guidelines and applications to the agenda.
Right. Can I get a second on Edison's motion to add the CS mini guidelines?
I second.
All right. And then all in favor, please raise your hand. All right, all against? All abstaining? All right, Sherry?
With a 9-0 vote, that motion passes.
All right, and then Edison, you said it was the CS guidelines and
Application. So do I need to motion again?
yes, so that was for the
Okay.
guidelines. Can you motion for the application?
Okay. Motion to add CS mini fund application to the agenda.
All right, can I get a second?
On a second.
I second.
Alrighty. Edison motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, all against, please raise your hand. All abstaining? Alrighty.
With an 11 to 0 vote, 0 to 0 vote, that passes.
Any further amendments to the agenda?
Hi, Tommy. I motion to add a resolution in solidarity with the people of Iran and in support of the ongoing uprisings against the Islamic Republic of Iran to the agenda.
All right. Does anybody second Talia's motion?
I second.
All right. Talia motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Alrighty, all against? All abstaining? All right.
With an 11 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
All right. Does anybody else have any amendments to be made to the agenda?
Yeah, this is Sherry. Can we strike bag allocations?
Mm-hmm.
And then also, can I motion to put onto the agenda a resolution calling for the support of UC Students Association Racial Justice Now campaign?
All right, does anybody second that motion?
I second.
All right, Sherry motions, JS seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All against? All abstaining?
With an
Alrighty.
11 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
All right, and then I will be motioning to add the UCSA BOD funding approval to the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. Tommy motions, Joy seconds. All in favor of adding the USA BOD funding allocation to the agenda, please raise your hand. All against? All abstaining? Alrighty.
With the 0 to 11 vote, that motion does not pass. Oh, 11, 0, sorry.
Okay, so we don't want to add that, Nico?
Hey, Tommy, sorry, I think that's supposed to be for next week.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think because I got the email this week, I assumed it was for this week.
No, you're all good. That's probably my bad. But next week.
Okay, sounds good. Then give me one moment to add everybody's links. Do we have any final amendments to be made to the agenda? All right, then give me 1 second to add the 5 links. All right, and then Sherry, can you please send over a copy of your letter when you get a chance?
I just sent it.
Alrighty, then can I get a motion to approve the agenda for January 13th, 2026?
I motion to approve the agenda for January 13th, 2026.
I second that motion.
Alrighty, Daniel motions, Chris seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All against?
With an 11 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
Alrighty, does anyone have any objections to approving of our last minutes? All right, those minutes are approved. We are now opening the floor for public comment. Is anybody there in person for public comment? All right, is anybody here online for public comment? Please raise your hand if you are. All right, if we have nobody, I close public comment at 7:17 p.m. Moving on to funding with Bethany.
Hi there. This week we had a total contingency program request of $29,348.58. And we recommend an allocation of $10,321.29 for 3 USAC entities and 25 non-USAC entities. I'm happy to answer any questions, and I've just pasted it in the chat as well.
All right, since I have this right in front of me, I motion to approve an allocation of $10,321.29 to 3 USAC entities and 25 non-USAC entities. Can I get a second?
I second that motion.
All right, Tommy motions, Chris seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All against? All abstaining?
With an 11 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
All right, SFS allocations.
Yeah, so this week SFS recommends an allocation of $9,382.42 to 0 USAC entities and 11 non-USAC entities.
All right, does anyone have any comment on those allocations? All right, moving on. SWC programming fund allocations.
This week, the SW Programming Funds recommends an allocation of $1,914.25 to 4 non-USAC entities.
All righty, any comment on those allocations? All right, moving on, ASRF allocations.
This week we recommended an allocation of $1,500 to 3 non-USAC entities.
All right, sounds good. Does anyone have any comment? All right, AAC Travel Mini Fund.
This week we recommended an allocation of $3,626.09 to 8 non-USAC entities.
All righty. Any comment on those allocations? All right, TGIF.
TGIF recommends an allocation of $15,158.56 to 2 non-USAC entities and 0 USAC entities.
Right, any comment on those allocations? All righty, moving on. Presentation by the Judicial Board. Do we have someone present in person to give that presentation? If so, you are welcome to approach the mic. All right. And then let me pull that up real quick, and I will share screen.
Awesome. Okay.
All
Hello,
right,
everyone. Sorry.
You're good. I said whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Tommy. Hello, everyone. We'll briefly introduce ourselves. We're here presenting about the judicial board activities of the last quarter. My name is Eli Sepulveda. I'm the Chief Justice of the board.
My name is Taylor Kuhner, and I'm a law clerk of the board.
My name is Nikki Aguili, and I'm a justice on the board.
Thank you. Can we go on to the next slide? So just a bit about us, and part of why this presentation is happening is that we've come to realize that over the past few years, we have not been very active before last year. Last year was a very active year for us, but before that, it seems that we were not very active. And so what we were trying to do is reestablish a communication with USAC, so you are all in the loop about what we are doing, and hence a little fall update. So a bit about what we actually functionally do. We serve as a board of appeals and slash a sort of judicial court for the USAC system. And so we are a reactionary body and we respond to petitions from any member of the association, which is undergraduate students, or the council. And we respond to those petitions accordingly depending on what the situation is. And there are four powers that the judicial board has under our constitution. It is Article 6, Section B that enumerates these. And so what this is that it gives us the power to make decisions, comment, question, or rule upon matters that are brought to us, either by you all or the associated body. And in addition to that, we can rule on the constitutionality of decisions that you all make should someone file a petition about that. And then we also serve as a board of appeals in the elections process should someone disagree with the decision of the elections board, in addition to also having rule powers granted to us by the chancellor. So that's just like a brief overview of the functional logistics of what we do, but can we get to the next slide, please?
So just to give people an idea, because you guys may know of the judicial board, but you may not know of a situation that you could be in right now or could be in potentially later on that you could come to us for. So a few common examples that we can give you are discrimination within any USAC affiliated organization or club. This can involve being excluded, being discriminated against, any form of racism or anything of that sort. Also violations of USAC elections and procedures. So if there's any problem in campaigning, whether you see it for people that are campaigning or for, people that are doing it with you. And then student to student disputes can be, it kind of goes hand in hand with all the other ones that we mentioned, whether it's being unfair within our community or being discriminated against, but it can involve any USAC member that feels as though they were treated unfairly or, again, discriminated against.
So one of the things that we instituted for this previous quarter was logging all of our time, all the time spent in meetings, in professional development workshops, and meetings between the Chief Justice and our associate justices. These would go over anything from our plan of action to our new filing guide and filing guide video that Eli will talk about shortly. We want to be very clear and transparent with how we're spending our time during our meetings and how much time is allocated to these meetings each week and each month. This lays out the past quarter and basically all of the activities that we completed during this time.
Can we get to the next slide, please? So the big thing that we worked on last quarter that we are very happy to be presenting to you all, I previewed it at a previous public comment, but it is our petition filing guide. The reason why we felt this was necessary was because as a board, we really value students being able to access our bodies should they feel that they are in need of it. And what we have come to realize is that the current petition process, in addition to understanding our constitution, can be difficult. It can be hard to go through the USAC constitution, even the USAC bylaws, to go through J board's bylaws, the election board's bylaws to properly understand like, oh, like this is a rule that I think was broken and here I want to file a petition. That is a arduous process for a student who has a grievance to go through. So what we aim to do is try and provide a fictitious example of a filing of a petition that has been quote unquote filed to provide an example for students who might be very confused or might not be super clear about what we are looking for in petitions. And so these are just 3 screenshots of it, but through the help of our wonderful new webmaster, we have the full PDF available on our JBoard website. And can we go to the next slide, please? This is a screenshot as well, it's not the video, but we also did record a full video with captions as well to walk through that process for any students who might feel that they are in need of support in filing that. And yeah, now we can go on to frequently asked questions. As I said, part of the goal of us presenting to you all is to get clarification so that you all have a good understanding of what it is that we do, and also so that we can promote the fact that we have completed this filing guidance so that more students can be aware of it. But let's cover some frequently asked questions that we get. The big one is, what is USAC's relationship to JBoard? This is one I put because I feel like this is a question that it's come to my attention, not everyone in USAC in all of your offices is really super aware of what we do, and that makes sense because we function independently for the most part. However, our appointment process is in the hands of the IVP and you all to formally vote and appoint us. So whether we are familiar faces to you right now or not, you have likely seen us in some capacity because this council had to approve our appointments. Additionally, this council also approves our annual budget, and for the most part, that is the extent of our formal interaction, which, as you can tell, it's only like really 2 things. But we are part of USAC, and because we are independent, it seems that we often don't get enough, we maybe have not put enough effort in the past to communicate with you all and be in touch. And so the hope is that through things like this, that we can have a line of communication should you guys need it. But yeah, we would mostly only interact with USAC should a petition be filed regarding any of the activities that you are performing. Our next question.
So this is a question that I feel everyone here probably knows the answer to, but it was something that I did not know before joining JBoard, where a member of the association is just any student that attends UCLA, well, in undergrad, yes, of course, not in the grad schools, but it's not just people in student government. This is actually something that we pointed out in our filing guide because it really just isn't clear. If someone was filing a petition, they would say, oh, I'm not a member of the association unless you did some research on it. So this was a key point that we really wanted to make clear to all students that even if you're not running for a governmental position, even if you're not part of USAC, you can still file a petition and use JBoard resources.
For the next question that we frequently get, there may be some situations that you may see or hear about something that you think is unacceptable and you wonder why nothing is being done by it, maybe specifically by the JBoard. The reason for that, one of which could be that the JBoard can't self-initiate a case. We would have to review it if a petition is filed. And another reason may be that when a petition is filed with us, it's kept confidential until it's either granted or denied. So maybe it's going through the process. And then the next one, if it's possible to file a petition as a group, short answer is yes. We would take multiple petitioners and go through the process and just take it as any other petition we would get.
I also just want to add real quick that to the third question, JBoard, we are a reactionary body. If you see something, if something happens to you, if you are experiencing something that you think is not in accordance with what you would expect of the bylaws, of the Constitution, we are dependent on people filing the petition. So it's kind of like a see something, say something situation here. Can we go to the last slide, please? Okay, this is the fun part. Q&A. Do any of you present in person or online have any questions for us that you would like answered?
Just out of curiosity, what is like the process like after somebody files a petition? How do you all like review it? And like, what do you guys do afterwards?
Yeah, that's a good question. So in our constitution, we have a strict timeline about how quickly we need to respond. I believe we have 3 school days to provide a response that either accepts or denies the petition. And what this means is it's not a ruling on whether we agree with what is happening in the petition, or us accepting a petition does not mean that we are siding with anyone. It means we think that the petition has merits to be heard. And so what that means for us is we would talk amongst ourselves and see, does the petition highlight or give reasonable explanation that a policy was violated? Is it clear that, oh, like, there's enough here that we think that, maybe this does deserve to be dug into a bit more? And so we usually rule on that based just for the acceptance or deniance. And then after that, if it is accepted, it initiates a formal process where we will reach out to both the respondent and the petitioner, see if they would like counsel to represent them in the case, to compile witness lists, to seek a internal hearing, and then, if need be, if not resolved by then, a formal public hearing. This process is supposed to happen very quickly. Yes, I'm not going to quote off the top of my head because I do not have the exact numbers after the 3-day acceptance or deniance, but yes, and all the submitted information is posted publicly as well.
Hello, thank you guys so much for coming in today. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your days. I'm Harem, I'm the transfer student representative, and I feel like as a transfer student specifically, I didn't know much about USAC. Like, I'm honestly still, even in my position, learning as I go. And so I was wondering if you guys, I don't know if this is more of a personal question, but if you guys could come in and like give the same presentation to my office or something, I think my team would really appreciate learning this.
I'll speak for all of us. We would love to. And it's actually something, transfers are very dear to my heart. I'm a transfer. And like, it's personally very rewarding being part of student government for me. And I'm super grateful that like there are transfers that are very eager to be part of student government, like hitting the ground running. So absolutely. Any other questions?
Hello. Hi. Hi, my name's Jay. I'm the general representative. Thank you for your presentation today. I really appreciate the thorough filing of the petition. I think one of the most common questions I get from marginalized student organizations when they have these types of complaints, because I'm not super well versed in the process like Kira. Last year when I was freshman, I could not explain to you anything about JBoard. I could explain to you about USAC and UCSA. I knew nothing about JBoard. So my question is, like, when say I have like a student org coming in and like they looked over your petition filing guide and whatever, but they have further questions that maybe I could not answer, how would you best suggest them coming to you guys? Like, do you guys have like office hours or anything like that? Or yeah.
So we don't have formal office hours and we meet bi-weekly, but what I do instead of that is the Associate Chief Justice and I check the email very, very frequently. So while we cannot provide commentary on whether we think a petition will be accepted or denied, because that comes down to us as a group deciding, if a student has general questions about how to file, we can give them some pointers on like, okay, here, like, if you're talking about XYZ scenario, you could probably find that under, like, it might help you to look under clause XYZ in the Constitution. That is realistically at most we would be able to help them, because otherwise it would be us involving ourselves too much in their filing process. But they are free to send us an email, and our email is posted everywhere on the petition filing guide.
I totally understand your point. When I was like applying to be a law clerk and reading through a lot of the cases, I understand that a lot of them are rejected, and I'm sure a lot of people don't really understand why. And that was the point in us making the video. So like a lot of the questions that people would have are now answered that were not previously answered, because when you're reading that guide without any of the notes that we have added, it is super confusing. And I will say most petitions that we have, especially that we saw last year, but even in previous years, were rejected just because they were filed improperly. So I think a lot of that has now been resolved. So I'm hoping with future cases, a lot of the confusion can be mitigated.
Is that another question?
During my first term, if my memory serves me correctly, your funding was significantly reduced. I was vehemently opposed to the full reduction of your funds. Since then, there seems to be a greater impact. And so looking ahead, and I think some of the folks on this council are perhaps reconsidering or considering running for reelection. So looking ahead, what specific forms of support, whether that be financial, staffing, or institutional, do you think USAC can provide to meaningfully strengthen your ability to have an impact?
That is a fantastic question, and I really appreciate you stating that. This is a conversation that has been ongoing for quite a while since our budget was initially reduced. And the biggest point of feedback that we received was communicate more. Part of why we are tracking our hours now is because it wasn't clearly communicated to USAC what it is that we were doing with our time. It wasn't clear what any of the money was going towards. And like that was last year where it was like, I believe it was $400 stipends per justice and a $300 supplies budget. This year we are at $200 per associate justice and no other functional budget. And I can understand the logic behind the council's decision to reduce funding if they believe a board or a body is not active. I feel like this is going to be an ongoing dialogue, and ultimately the thing that would be most helpful would be an assurance that if we are able to increase our impact on campus, that will be recognized. That is the biggest thing that we care about, because we also care about the fairness. If we are not active one year, it makes sense not to increase the budget if we're not active. It makes sense to not spend more of student tuition on that. We're all students. We all pay the tuition. We get it. But at the same time, it's just this recognition that like, if we are stepping up, we ask that you please recognize that, and that the budget hopefully reflects that as well. Because the biggest bottleneck for us is really like we are able to operate now functionally because we have not yet received a petition this year. But should we receive a petition that gets accepted and goes to a hearing, we are under a pretty strict time frame in which we must have a hearing based on our constitution. And we are not sure, because this is the first year that we don't really have a budget, that we would be able to reserve a public venue for students to be able to sit in and see the public hearing, should that happen in time. So that is the biggest thing for us, is just making sure that we're able to comply with our own rules, given the cut budget. But transparently, what we are looking for is just an assurance that if we are stepping up now, that it will be recognized in the future.
I think I can speak for the board that I think we're very grateful for your guys' presentation and the greater degree of transparency. With regards to any assurance, I think that's going to be dependent on the future board of current council members. 13 of us will be graduating in the next year. However, I do think you guys are setting a precedent. If you guys keep coming in, being transparent, I think the effort will show. And I'm more than happy to communicate with my predecessor, and I think others would be willing to communicate with their predecessors the work that you guys have done. With regards to your guys' funding and regards to the hours that are being put in, I do think USAC will have to evaluate the proportionality of the hours you guys are putting in with the hours of other roles. For instance, academic senators, while they might attend a 2 hour, 1 hour meeting every week, their stipend is $200 annually, I believe. So we just have to I think that's going to be something that the next council has to seriously look at, is the proportionality of which we are funding and stipending various roles to ensure that they are equitable.
Thank you for that, Tommy. And we are fully ready to have that conversation with you all when that time comes.
Amazing. Does anyone else have any questions? Alrighty. If not, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And that was an amazing presentation, and we look forward to having you guys back soon.
Thank you.
Alrighty, moving on the agenda. Next, we have a presentation on student conduct. Is someone here to present? All right, if nobody is here to present, then we will be moving forward past this agenda item. All right, moving on to officer reports. Diego is not here, so I will just start us off. My report will be written this week. In terms of updates, I would just encourage you all, if you possibly can, to attend the HSI Town Hall tomorrow. It is going to be from 5 to 7 p.m. in the Alumni Center. So really encourage you all to turn out and see the amazing work of the HSI. And yeah, we really encourage all council members to attend. There'll be dinner provided. It should be a great event. All right, moving on. Sherry.
I don't have most of my report will be written, but I do have a couple of things. Our office's winter fellowship application is open right now and due next Wednesday, January 19th, I think. One sec. Let me double check. Or sorry, Monday, January 19th. And so our fellows get, a in-depth look at what EVP does and also advocacy at UCLA. So if that's anything that you or people that you know are interested in, please share. Our bag grant winter week 5 to 10 events deadline is Friday of week 3. And then lastly, next Tuesday from 5 to 6:30, our office is hosting a SB 79 town hall. We have quite a few speakers and there's going to be food. And so come join us. It's in Kirkhoff Grand Salon. The rest of my stuff will be written.
All right, Talia.
Guys, just if you guys want, stop by at the Gen Rep 1 raffle on Thursday in Bruin Plaza. You guys can all enter the raffle, win some good prizes. And also, if any of you guys are interested, my office is sponsoring 20 students to go to the Museum of Tolerance in honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day. And we're specifically targeting non-Jewish students who may not know about the history of the Holocaust. So if any of you guys are interested in coming on that tour, please let me know. Also working on finally bringing the self-defense class to life and meeting with Diego on Friday to talk about financing subsidized lift rides. And the rest will be written.
Hello. So, a couple updates on my end. Our Swana Lobby Day steering committee is now launching, and we'll be having our first meeting this Friday. If anyone is interested in sharing, please let me know or contact Mesa. I'm super excited for that. Excited to see where that's going. As I'm just gonna keep promoting, you guys will continue to hear me yapping all in February because it's Black History Month and we have a bunch of events coming up. But we have decided for our Black History Month edition, Black Wednesday, bringing back old African Student Union tradition. We will be doing an open mic jazz theme. So super excited. That will be in Broome Plaza, February 11th, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Everything's booked and everything. So super excited about that.
Alrighty, Brett. All right, if Brett's not here, AAC, Chris.
Written for tonight, thanks.
Alrighty, Daniel.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to quickly update. This Friday, we have our indie rock concert in Kirkhoff Grand Salon with headliner Chanel Beads. We already have over 500 RSVPs. So it's going to be a pretty popular event. Hopefully, you guys can all make it. Other than that, we have some general programming updates. This quarter, we're doing a retroactive sort of Oscars series where we're going to be screening films that have either like won Oscars or are likely to be nominated for Oscars. So we're really excited about that. And we're starting with Everything Everywhere All at Once next Thursday, I believe. And then we're working on a couple speaker events for this quarter. The first at the beginning of February. And yeah, other than that, we're looking for vendors for Afrofest that we're doing in collaboration with NSA, and we have a confirmed date of March 1st for that.
Amazing. Thank you for that. Edison.
Yeah, hello. So on CSE's end, I just wanted to share that we are currently recruiting for Impact Conference. So basically, we are trying to send a delegation of 15 UCLA students to a fully funded weekend conference in Ohio. So there, they will participate in workshops related to service. And so, yeah, just share this with your office and your staff. And if anyone's interested, just feel free to reach out. And I think the application's on our Instagram page. But yeah, that's all.
Sounds amazing. All right, cultural affairs, Divine.
Yeah, tomorrow's our first Word on Wednesday of the quarter. It's in collaboration with the Transfer Student Representative Office. It's going to be in Kirkhoff Art Gallery at 6 p.m. And then on Thursday, we have our first art series event in Kirkhoff Grand Salon. It's going to be a film event showing student films, student artwork as well. ARC applications are due January 30th for programming occurring during winter quarter of week 6 through spring week 5. And again, I also want to highlight that we just started our radio show called Captivated. It's on Sundays at 5 p.m. The rest is written.
Amazing. Thank you. Fac, Joy.
We are hosting an academic accessibility town hall with DSU, TSR, GR3, GR2, and other disability justice advocates this Thursday from 6 to 8 p.m. in Bruin Viewpoint Room or this room. Please RSVP using the link in my officer report or on the FAC Instagram. And then we'll be discussing issues with CAE and hybrid modality, and we will be offering free food. Next, our Building Our Space BOS committee is hiring new staff until January 25th. Please apply using the link in my officer report or in the FAC Instagram. And then office space allocation applications are live on the OSAC Instagram. Please apply by February 13th to be considered using the link in my officer report or on the FAC or OSAC Instagram. Any sole student organization can apply for office space in Kirkhoff for the 26 to 28 academic years using that application. And we are hosting an OSAC application workshop this Thursday from 4 to 5 p.m. on Zoom.
Sounds amazing. Um, Hannah, student wellness. Oh wait, I skipped. Sorry. Financial supports, Nico.
Hey everyone, it will be written. Thank you.
Period. Hannah.
The only thing I have is that the Brew Necessities, one of the SWC committees, hosts a gift card kind of application cycle every quarter. And for this quarter, they're due this Friday by 11:59. I know some offices last quarter asked me about it. So there's an application cycle open right now, and this gift card is redeemable at the UCLA store for any pre-approved essential hygiene and household items. So please spread the word to anyone in your offices or anyone you know.
All right. Thank you. TSR, Hiram.
Hello. I'm kind of just echoing what Divine already said, but come to the TSR and CAC Word on Wednesday collab, Mirror Mirror, from 6 to 8 p.m. at Kirchhoff Art Gallery. I know the HSI Town Hall ends at 7, so come at any time. I'm reading one of my poems, so you can see my English major side of me, I guess. And you get to see so much student talent. That's genuinely, like, I'm so excited. And it's also open mic, so come prepared with your own piece if you would like. I don't know. There's a poet in all of you, I believe it. Also, tell the transfer students you know to apply for the TSR and EVP TSAD, Transfer Student Advocacy Day Steering Committee. We're taking apps until next Friday. And if you got a housing night invite from my student housing team, please respond as soon as possible because we're finalizing details for it right now. Thank you.
Sounds great. Kaya?
Hi, so R is the Student Legal Services and ISR event. Because of some logistics, it got postponed and the due date is February 11th. It goes over the current affairs of immigration law for F1 and G1 international students. So that's one update. And then the CIP applications with TSR are open and they're open until January 19th. So anyone interested in that should apply as well. And then the rest is all.
All right, thank you. And then one more just quick announcement. Um, you guys should have all gotten an invitation for the Meet the Council Members event that IVP Transparency is hosting. So it'll be a nice chance for the UCLA student body to get to know you, network, hopefully learn more about your priorities for the second half of the year. So please be sure to RSVP for that. It'll be on not this, actually this next Wednesday. So please keep an eye out for that in your inbox. All right, moving on to our new business for, oh wait, we have administrative representatives. Orlando.
Thank you, Tommy. Hello, everyone. A few announcements. Campus Programs Committee Regular Fund, which is $8,500, and Campus Programs Committee Youth Fund, which is $9,500, is going to be due next Thursday by 4 p.m. If you or groups that you know are going to be programming on campus or bringing youth to campus, youth is defined kindergarten through community college. You should be applying to these. Sole registration for new organizations are currently going on right now, but will be concluding this Friday. So if you haven't started it, please start it. As long as you start it, there will be a little grace period for you to finish it, even if you don't finish it by Friday. A part of that registration is a requirement to attend a new organization workshop at one of our one-stop workshops, which will be hosted next week. Wednesday will be in person, Thursday virtual. If you're interested in attending some of our workshops that will focus on financial literacy, on funding, care, youth training, along with the New York workshops, you should check it out. The agenda is on our Soul website. And then by now you should hopefully have received an invitation for breakfast for next week with the student regent. I'm still finalizing the location. I will be reaching out to you for any of your dietary needs or restrictions. But please respond to me as well as any topics that you wish to discuss with the student regent. Okay. And then finally, the reason she is here is because she will be hosting the fireside chat, which will be at 2 to 2:30. I'm a little concerned that it's on a Friday, so a Friday afternoon. So hopefully we have, some interest. So if you could help me get the word out, I will be forwarding kind of advertisement to you all if you don't mind. Forward it along to your groups or your people, and I'd really appreciate it. And I believe that's it. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Lorelai.
Hello, everyone. I don't really have that many, or I don't really have updates, but I did want to say that part of one of our initiatives in the SGS office is to get our student staff more involved in either your activities or USAC, and so just trying to make them more visible. So be aware that they might be emailing you, or you might see them more frequently than you have recently, aside from Kendall. So yeah, look out for that.
Sounds good. Lori?
The only thing I have is as you're looking at your calendars for the quarter, if you are wanting event space towards the end for study nights, distributions, whatever, request your space now so we can get the recreation event fund quickly approved and we're not in a jam like a little pickle that we had last quarter. That's all.
All righty, will do. Jonathan?
Hey, hi, hello, all. Great to see you. No major updates from me. I did just want to provide a general reminder, especially as I listen to many of your officer reports. You have a lot of wonderful things coming up, but I do want to remind you of the various policies and procedures that you need to go through in order to make those things happen. So if you're releasing any sort of application of any sort, that needs to be approved by human resources before you do so. Yeah. If you're going on any trip of some sort, you need to have a liability waiver and potentially a travel contract, depending on how long that travel is. If you are bringing a third-party speaker or artist or photographer or whoever to campus, even if they're volunteering their time, they need insurance. So all those kinds of things. If you're bringing on new volunteers for this quarter for people in your office, they still need to sign those volunteer agreements. All of those things are still in effect. We are here to assist with all of them. They are there to protect you. Let us know what questions you have. And Peter is out today.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Moving on to new business. USAC letter regarding Sepulveda Transit Corridor, LPA. Joy.
I'm going to pass this off to Michael and Winston, who are the FAC directors leading this. Tommy, can you please promote Winston Lee in the Zoom, please?
Yes, 1 second. All right, we should be good to go.
Thanks, Tommy. Good evening, council members. My name is Michael Griffin. I've seen many of you before. I'm here again to discuss the Sepulveda Transit Corridor. I presented a letter similar to this back in August to the council over the summer. So kind of to give you all a brief overview of where we're at the Sepulveda Transit Corridor project. This is a project that has been in development by LA Metro for the last couple of years. It's a proposed initiative that would create a new rail line that connects the San Fernando Valley with the west side of LA. And there are currently 5 alternatives being considered, with alternatives 3, 4, 5, and 6, including a direct campus stop at UCLA, and alternatives 4, 5, and 6, including a heavy rail subway option. So over the summer, they held a public comment period for the draft environmental impact review. And I presented a letter to USAC, and after the council approved it, which thank you for approving it, we submitted it as a public comment to LA Metro to voice our support as a student body for the heavy rail alternatives of 4, 5, and 6, as they would be the most equitable alternatives for all UCLA students and for staff and people visiting UCLA, as it would have a lot of benefits that we'll talk about in a minute. But just recently, a new development is that on Friday evening, LA Metro sent out an announcement that the Metro staff had finished compiling public comments from the summer, and that they had made a recommendation to the Metro board to select a modified version of Alternative 5. This is good news for UCLA students, as Alternative 5 is one of the options that USAC and Bruins for Better Transit has been advocating for over the past couple years. So what that means now is that the Metro Planning Committee is meeting tomorrow at Metro headquarters in downtown LA, and they are going to discuss this recommendation made by the staff, and they will vote on an alternative to select as the locally preferred alternative. That is the alternative that that Metro will be proceeding with as a project. And then next week on Thursday, January 22nd, the LA Metro Board of Directors will be convening as a whole body, and they will, and of course, first the planning committee has to vote on their recommendation, but we expect that the board next week will be voting on the LPA. It's not confirmed yet, but we are hoping to get ahead of the game here and try to submit another public comment ahead of this very important board meeting. I mean, we've been waiting for the moment for the Metro board to decide an alternative for the last several years. This really is the culmination of all of the advocacy for this project. So it's really a crucial point in this project. Myself and my colleague Winston Lee have drafted a letter outlining why we should support the recommendation made by the LA Metro staff and why this recommendation should be voted on by the Metro board. And I will hand it off to my colleague Winston to let you know if there's anything that I missed and to read the letter.
Yep. So hi, I'm Winston. In case you're wondering why it's called Modified Alternative 5, by the way, it's because it combines some of the elements from both Alternative 5 and Alternative 6, but it meets all of our major requirements, so we're fully in support of it. So I'm going to read through the letter, and I will skip some of the sections that were the same from the letter that USAC approved back in the summer, but I'll just focus on what's new. Dear LA Metro Board of Directors, on behalf of the Undergraduate Students Association Council at the University of California, Los Angeles, we implore the Metro Board of Directors to follow the recommendation of Metro staff to select Modified Alternative 5 as a locally preferred alternative, LPA, for the Sepulveda Transit Corridor project to ensure transportation equity for students at UCLA. We are pleased with the major components of Modified Alternative 5, including a direct on-campus station at UCLA Gateway Plaza, unlike Alternative 1, direct connections to other metro lines, unlike Alternatives 1 and 3, stations placed where students actually go, unlike Alternatives 1 and 3, and low headways thanks to the use of automated heavy rail technology, similar to Alternatives 4 and 5, and unlike Alternative 6. We wish to strongly reiterate that monorail alternatives 1 and 3 are insufficient to address student needs. Alternative 1 omits a UCLA campus stop entirely, instead requiring students to travel between campus and the stop on an electric bus, which would significantly increase travel time and decrease ridership, as supported by data in the DEIR. And both alternatives 1 and 3 see slower travel times, with stops located directly adjacent to the 405 freeway, exposing riders to dangerous levels of noise and air pollution. While we still believe that elevated rail, as described in Alternative 4, should be considered due to its similar mobility benefits for significantly lower costs, we are encouraged to hear that Metro's modification of Alternative 5 may lead to lower costs versus Alternative 5 as described in the DEIR. We hope that Metro expedites the final environmental review of this project to ensure this critical backbone can be built faster and start serving the needs of students sooner. To this end, we call on the Metro Board of Directors to honor UCLA's commitment to the Los Angeles region by selecting an alternative that will connect the nation's #1 public university to its rapidly expanding transportation network. We firmly believe that moving forward with Modified Alternative 5 is the only decision that will uphold Metro's values of equity and world-class transportation.
Thank you, Winston. Yeah, so just to wrap things up, this is what we believe is the culmination of all of these Metro community meetings and advocacy, and environmental review on selecting an alternative, and we believe that the board is going to make a decision next Thursday, the 22nd. I would also like to say to everyone in this room, council members or not, that public comment will be open for the Metro board meeting, and to please try to make public comment in any way, shape, or form. There's multiple ways you can do it. Written comment can be submitted to boardclerk@metro.net. You can also make public comment by telephone during the meeting. And you could also make public comment in person at the Metro headquarters near Union Station in downtown LA. Also, I believe UCLA Transportation and UCLA Government and Community Relations will be chartering a bus to bring students to the Metro board meeting next week. So if anyone is interested on information about how to sign up to be on that bus, I can have Joy include it in our officer reports. But yeah, thank you very much for your consideration, Council. We really hope that you can approve this letter, and hopefully it may even be the last letter about the Sepulveda Transit Corridor as we look to the future of this project. Hopefully we will see an on-campus subway stop at UCLA, who knows, maybe in the next decade. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael and Winston. Does anybody have any comment on the letter? All right, if not, can I please get a motion?
This is Joyce speaking. I move to approve the USAC letter regarding Sepulveda Transit Corridor LPA for the Metro Board meeting.
Second.
All right, Joy motions, Daniel seconds, all in favor. All right, all against? All abstaining? Alrighty.
With a 12 to 0 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
Thank you.
Now we're moving on to CS mini fund guidelines. Edison.
Yes, so basically we are updating the guidelines so that we do not have to conduct hearings for funding applications. So this is in line with the other two funds that CSE oversees, and also the hearings that we had last quarter, they slowed down the process quite a bit and also took away the funding committee's bandwidth from answering other questions and focusing on more important work. So we're just working to streamline the process for them. Are there any questions? Okay, if not, I'll move to approve the CS mini fund guidelines.
All right, can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Edison motions, Sherry seconds, all in favor. All against? All abstaining? All right.
With an 11 to 0 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
Alrighty, moving on to CS mini fund application.
Yeah, so the application is also updated to just reflect that new change to the guidelines. So if there are no questions, then I'll move to approve the CS mini fund application.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, Edison motions, Sherry seconds, all in favor, please raise your hand. All against? All abstaining? All right.
With an 11 to 0 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
Amazing. Moving on to a resolution in solidarity with the people of Iran. Talia.
I know some of you might know, some of you maybe don't know, but as of now in Iran, thousands of civilians have come out to protest the Iranian regime. And unfortunately, 2,000 and counting civilians have been murdered by their government. And for about 47 years, the Islamic regime has been incredibly oppressive of its people. And for a country with such well-educated, beautiful, hardworking people, natural resources, it is quite unfortunate that the government refuses to invest in its people and instead invest in its own ideological agenda. This issue is incredibly close to me personally. Both of my parents and my entire family fled Iran years ago, leaving everything behind because it just wasn't safe for them to live. And we have current students at UCLA who have family in Iran and have not been able to contact them at all due to the internet blackout that has been inflicted upon the people. And I worked closely with our Iranian student group to bring this here today. So I really want to thank them for all of their hard work in putting this together and spearheading kind of the personal aspect of the resolution. So please, 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 I really ask of you guys to show solidarity with our Iranian students at UCLA, and I'm happy to answer any questions. I don't know how it works. Can I motion or are there any questions?
If there's no questions, you can make a motion.
Okay, I motion to pass the resolution in solidarity with the people of Iran and in support of the ongoing uprisings against the Islamic Republic of Iran.
And then just to confirm, Jonathan, do we only need 2 co-sponsors or do we need 3?
You need 3 sponsors total. So
All right, then we are good to go. Then can I get a second?
I second.
Who was
Hiram
that?
Main
Sorry.
seconds.
Hiram. All right, amazing. Talia motions, Hiram seconds. All in favor? All right, all against? All abstaining?
With a 12 to 0 vote, that motion passes.
Amazing. All right, moving on to the next item. We have a resolution calling for support of the UCSA Racial Justice Now campaign. Sherry.
Okay. Hi, guys. I'm going to read parts of this resolution just because I think provides some context to what UCSA is, what the Racial Justice Now campaign is, and about SAPEP. So, yeah. Whereas first generation, low income, and historically underrepresented students within the UC system continue to experience inequitable access to career resources, professional mentorship, and employer networks, creating substantial barriers in their transition from college to the workforce. Whereas the UC Office of Institutional Research and Academic Planning reports that women UC graduates earn approximately $18,000 less than men 10 years after graduation, and that African American and Latino alumni consistently have the lowest median salaries, even when controlling for GPA, major industry, demonstrating persistent racial and gender pay inequities. Whereas UC outcomes data further demonstrate that first-gen students earn an average of $35,000 2 years after graduation compared to $36,400 earned by their non-first-gen peers, and this wage gap widens by the 8th year post-graduation, revealing long-term disparities in career advancement and income stability. Whereas these structural differences in access to career support contribute to disparities in post-graduation opportunities, upward mobility, and long-term economic outcomes for historically underserved communities. Whereas student academic preparation educational partnerships, SAPEP programs, including early academic outreach program, mathematics, engineering, science achievement, transfer prep, Puente, and UC Scout have demonstrated significant success in supporting access, retention, and academic success for underrepresented students and provide a strong foundation for expanding workforce development initiatives. Whereas the UC has a responsibility not only to ensure equitable access to higher education, but also to prepare students, including first-gen, low-income, and historically marginalized students for successful and meaningful participation in the workforce. Whereas the University of California Students Association maintains an annual Racial Justice Now campaign, which is dedicated to promoting career development and workforce development for underrepresented student communities to close post-graduation equity gaps, and which through its findings has this year committed to campaigning for the creation of a first generation workforce development SAPEP oriented program to expand transitional career support and workforce development opportunities for underrepresented UC students. And whereas, therefore, let it be resolved that USAC formally supports UCSA's Racial Justice Now campaign and its call for a UC First Generation Workforce Development Program. Whereas, therefore, let it be resolved that USAC endorses UCSA's one-time request for $5 million in the State General Fund to support and expand a first-gen workforce development program to include comprehensive workforce development initiatives, career readiness programming, and transitional support services tailored to underrepresented students. Therefore, let it be resolved, USAC urges UC Office of the President, UC Chancellors, and campus administrators to collaborate to develop a coordinated, equity-focused approach that integrates SAPEP expertise with campus career centers, ensuring consistency and access across all UC campuses. Let it be resolved that USAC recognizes that successful workforce development requires addressing systemic barriers, including limiting employer networks, uneven alumni engagement, and gaps in career preparation services. Therefore, let it be resolved that USAC encourages all UC campuses to uplift, amplify, and participate in the Racial Justice Now campaign by introducing campus-specific resolutions that support equitable career pathways. Therefore, let it be resolved this resolution shall be forwarded to the UCLA Chancellor, Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Vice Chancellor for Diversity, Equity, Inclusion, the Executive Director of the Career Center, Office of Undergraduate Education, and UC Office of the President to affirm USAC's support of the campaign. Therefore, let it be resolved that USAC urges these administrative offices to protect and champion underrepresented students and communities' futures at and beyond the UC in the struggle for educational equity and post-grad success. And therefore, let it finally be resolved that USAC reaffirms its longtime commitment to educational equity, post-graduation success, and the advancement of the Racial Justice Now campaign, recognizing that equitable workforce development is essential to student empowerment and UC-wide social mobility. Sorry for the long read, but I think especially given like what we've seen in the past year, protecting access and retention programs and further funding them, along with, these include student-initiated programs and outreach programs, is really important. And so would urge you all to vote yes. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Sherry. Does anybody have any questions or comments? All right, if there are none, can I please get a motion?
I motion to pass a resolution calling for support of UC Students Association Racial Justice Now campaign.
I second.
All right, Sherry motions, Daniel seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, all against? All abstaining?
Sorry. With a 12 to 0 to 0 vote, that motion passes. And then Tommy, also, can I make a correction to the motion before on the previous resolution? I miscalculated. It was 11 to 0 to 1.
All right, thank you for clarifying for the record. If there is nothing else, I adjourn this meeting at 8:19 p.m. on January 13th. Thank you all very much.